Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Adventures. This is an adventure. We've got some really important solar charging information, you know, what panels, what regulators to use, what works, what doesn't work. Now, firstly, I'd like to point out, I'm sure there's people that know more about me than this. If you like, you can go and pop that on your own channel. I'm here to help people that know less than me. So I'm not an expert, but I know a little bit about these things. I use them a lot. And I'm here to help the people that know less than me, trying to guide them. So you guys listen to me, and if anyone else knows better, please start up your YouTube channel and show everyone so they can have a listen to that if they choose. Now, for years now, we've been using different types of solar panels, regulators, so different brands of panels. There's a number of these different types of regulators. Something that we haven't really used so far is these. They are handy. They've been around a long time. You get them for about 20 bucks, something along those lines. But I'm going to run through some basic information on this really reliable setup on our 120 Proto we've been using for around about almost 8 years. And we know what works with that. And we're going to tell you about some recent testing. I'll tell you, I've never liked DC-DC chargers, and in my opinion, you don't need them. As I've said before, generally there's some circumstances where you may use them, but where you've got dual batteries under the bonnet here, which is the best place for the batteries in most vehicles that we use, you know, the Prados and stuff, you don't need the DC-DC chargers. But look, there is variations to that. So firstly, let's have a look. I don't know if you've been monitoring. We'll just quickly point out that top left is the amps, top right is the voltage, and then you've got your watt, obviously amps. Let's not confuse it too much. Let's just go amps top left, volts top right, and your watts bottom right. Okay. Don't worry about the bottom left at the moment. 3's enough. Amps, voltage, and watts. Now, we are using a set of Samson quality solar panels. We get from Malandy Outdoor Adventure there in Thomastown. You could probably contact them, pop past, click and collect type pickup. They're at most of all the four-wheel drive shows, that sort of thing. It's not really a shop front type business, but they do have a small showroom at the warehouse there. Top blokes, Mal and Andy. So that's what we're using. I think those ones are rated at 160 watt. I'm told they're made in the same factory as the Redarc ones. They're just better and a bit cheaper, so happy days. Now, using these same panels for about 2 years now on our 2019 150 with that PROJECTA Dcdc charger, at one point in time, I was sort of demonstrating that this type of regulator isn't as good as those DC-DC chargers for the solar. Okay, now we haven't used a Redarc. Okay, so Redarc may be better than the PROJECTA, it may or may not be. You know, there's heaps of people with a PROJECTA that think that's okay, but my experience, it's not okay. And it's not just there was something wrong with mine or it was wired wrong. It was wired perfectly, with a blue wire connected or not. We got the same results anyway, and we've seen similar with people using them on other vehicles, so it wasn't a one-off. Now, the idea of this is that you can monitor while I'm speaking to you, trying to explain these things. You can also monitor and see what's going on. Today's a perfect day for this because we've got patchy cloud. That's why I've chosen today. So at the moment, the sun's on an angle. We're on about a 45 degree angle. So we're not going to get where these panels are 160 watt, you need the sun directly above. But you'll see we're getting around the 80 we've got a fair bit of sun at the moment. I wouldn't say it's, you know, it's about what you're going to get there. But notice the voltage is staying up. With all the panels we've used, with all these types of regulators we've used, this brand, that brand, El Cheapo regulators that come with the panels, whatever, guess what? They do the job. They do the job reliably. Even the King's panels that come with these regulators, well, usually they do the job reliably. I'm not going to say 100% there on that one, but if you get the quality panels, these, you're looking at it right here, right now. They've been used for 2 years. The black material is fading from the sun. They've been used that much. We'll go up and have a look at them in a minute. You can see what's happening now. We've got consistent sun right now. We're getting about 5.5 amps, which means if your fridge is running, it's using about 2.5. So it's enough to run your fridge and charge your battery. When the fridge cuts out, it's putting 6 amps into your battery. The battery here, choice, is a 55, right? 55, where is it? You know, there it is, 55 right there, right? See that 55 AH? So basically what that means is you can use, let's say, about 30 of that if you like. So if your fridge is running 100% for 12 hours, 2.5 times, who can tell me? Any kids here? No. 2.5, I was going to test the kids out. 2.5 times, what did I just say? 12 hours. 2.5 times 12 is going to be about 30, right? So technically if your battery's full at, you know, 5 or 6 p.m. when the sun goes down, and for some reason it stays at 40 degrees overnight, and your fridge is constantly running, which it wouldn't anyway, and you could flatten your battery in 12 hours by you know, sun up in the morning, your battery needs more charge. So that's worst case scenario. And generally you've got the sun the next day, or you're driving the vehicle, whatever the case may be. This is why you don't really need a battery bigger than that. If you're trying to run freezers and big freezers in heat, you're going to struggle. That's why I say avoid freezers where possible, and avoid temperatures lower than, you know, depending on what you got in the fridge, how low you need to keep it, right? And depending on the whole, there's a whole heap of variables, so we won't go too much into this one. What I want to show you is the consistency of the voltage. These exact same panels on our PROJECTA Dcdc charger. See it's even spiking up, look at that, 17. This is before the regulator though. See, there's your regulator there. We can do it the other way and pop this the other way around, but I'll tell you what we'll do. See, the clouds just come now. That's why it drops back down again, right? 2 amps. But see, the voltage is consistent. Now, to see that you know the regulator's working, and we're not seeing these sort of voltages at the battery. Let's go the voltmeter for this battery. Well, we've got one on the phone. We've got the let's just have a look in here and just show you a charge voltage, what we say it should be. Charge voltage, oh no, it's going to be hard to see. It's 13.8. I don't know if you can see that. It's, you know, just the refresh time on the camera, I think, is the way that, you might have to trust my judgment on that. That's painful, isn't it? I don't know if you can even see that, but look, I'll back off a bit, whatever. It's 13.8 volts, guys. That is charge voltage. It'll drop, see right now, it's just dropped 13.1 momentarily, right? So that'll fluctuate depending on a bit of time delay with the sun and the cloud and this sort of thing. Actually, that can happen, but the most consistent thing that's going to make that drop is the fridge compressor. This is what I'm talking about. So with the fridge compressors running now, I've just checked, right? I'm going to switch the thermostat down to get the fridge to cut out. See, straight back 13.6, it'll go 13.7, 13.8. Obviously, it just takes a moment for that battery to recover from the load, okay? Now I'm going to turn the fridge back up so the compressor cuts in. It's just hit 13.8, I'm going up. Bang, just cut in again. So under load, the battery's still holding 13.1. What I didn't tell you at the start of this video is the battery started at 12.4. So we ran the fridge all night and made sure the battery had a load on it. And these solar panels, they've only been connected for about between half an hour to an hour, I'd estimate, probably maybe 45 minutes. So there's the fridge there, you know, the usual setup. So back to the front. I suppose what we should do now is take a quick look at the solar panels so you can see. There, you can see the material, how it's faded. They're well used. They've been in and out. You can see all the grass. I clean it all out, but you know, you can't get it all out. I do clean things up. These panels, they haven't been cleaned before this use. When we're having trouble using them with a DC-DC charger, the PROJECTA, we kept cleaning. We did everything, checked everything. We used these panels on somebody else. We swapped regulators with other people. We swapped panels. The consistent thing that was giving us average, very average charge was the damn PROJECTA solar. And to be honest, it worked really well. It worked fine. Well, I say that. It worked fine driving, okay? So when you're driving, it worked okay. Let's just have a look at this while I'm speaking again so you can see what's going on here. It worked fine while you're driving, but not that good on the solar. It was like always putting in a lower voltage. It was just pathetic, to be quite honest. It was always sitting around 12.8, 13.1, 13.2, every now and then. And I know there was periods in time where I saw the 14, 14.5. So when it's on the next stage, for some reason, it'd drop down to the next level. And this is where it's just out of control, where this is just going to pump this battery all day. We can probably do this in another video. We'll come back to it later. This is what works, guys. The Optimas, they're tough batteries. If you take them out on the corrugations, they don't fall to pieces. They charge up, so they last long in life. Don't worry about comparing different brands of batteries, different types of batteries. You can get a lithium if you want, but don't do these are good for 500 cycles and they're good for 1500 or 2000 cycles. These are good for 2000 cycles. We replaced these batteries at 5 years, 5.5 years. They were still in 80 to 90% good condition, and they'd been cycled. This battery, not this one, the one in its place before, for 5.5 years, ran this fridge in this vehicle 365 days a year for 5.5 years, and it was still in close to new condition, and now that's still in further testing and use in another vehicle. Okay, they're reliable. They charge up quickly, so when you put this on, you get a little bit of sunlight an hour, or you go for a drive for an hour, it makes a massive recovery. So they charge up well, they last long in life, they're reliable, they're tough. That's the choice in batteries. The Redarc SBI is the go. It just connects the two together. If your vehicle alternator can charge one battery, it can charge two. Take my word for it. What you can do though, if it's available for your model, is put in the booster diode. Okay, now where people have trouble is they want to blame batteries. Oh, it wasn't big enough, or I didn't like the Optima, I had trouble with the Optima, or I needed a DC charger. They're running 60 litre freezers in 30 to 40 degree heat, parking the car in the hot sun. You know, there's a lot of variables to this, okay? But generally, and all the information I've gathered from everybody's different, looking at all these batteries, fridges, solar, gathering the information for you. Nobody's paying me to do this. I'm just trying to help you out here and give you the information, right? That's already showing that the battery's full. That's just a guide, right? But I'm telling you now, if we disconnected it, so we got a consistent, again, this is all before the regulator. So we can go, and what we'll do in another video is we'll put the regulator on that side, the meter on the other side of the regulator, right? So, but you can see it is, I'll just show you you know, look, we've got patchy clouds sort of everywhere, right? So it's just really patchy like that. So I'm going to put the sun in your eyes for a minute. We got the sun there, we got, you know, so it's just kind of like, you know, really patchy. That's why I wanted to pick today, because you can see even with clouds, patchy cloud, we're getting consistent wattage, amperage, voltage, which all sort of go hand in hand with this setup. I do notice the voltage fluctuation a little bit. That's fine, that's normal, that's what they do. That's where I'm not the expert on this to explain why it does that. But this just works, guys. It's cheap, it's reliable. Good, cheap, reliable battery. Good, cheap, reliable VSR. Use your good solid wiring. The positive is, if for some reason this battery ends up flat, the kids, you left the radio on, or the battery's gone bad on you on a trip, it won't if it's an Optima. The interior light was left on, whatever, you can just, watch this, right? You can just get this. I don't even run the wire inside. Why make work for yourselves? This comes direct from, see the blue wire, right? That's the positive. You just go like this. Hear that click? Guess what we're doing now, guys? We're charging that one and this one. So if your alternator shags out, you can use this system to use two batteries to run the engine while your alternator's cactus, while your solar panels are on the roof, to get your vehicle back to where you can get yourself an alternator, right? So you can see we're still going to see a similar consistency. These panels absolutely boom it in. There's more than enough charge. Look, 5 amps. I already explained how much the fridge uses and doesn't use when the compressor's running. The fact of the matter is, in cooler weather, the compressor's going to be running not more than half the time, probably a third of the time if you've got a decent efficiency fridge. Bada bing. I don't know what else I can tell you. This is my favorite setup. These batteries, this Redarc, solid cables, being able to control this situation, and then after a while I just pop that back there. So now what I've got is this battery's getting a little bit of a top up as well. So if the doors were left open, which they were for a couple hours yesterday, this sort of thing, guess what? This battery, the best way to keep a battery is in full 100% charge condition, which is why you shouldn't set up your batteries and your fridge and just drive to work and back half an hour a day and drain your battery that's a good way to test these batteries. So go ahead and do it if you like, but beware that your battery isn't going to be anywhere near full for most of the time, because it's going to be getting drained all day out in the hot sun with that fridge in the back. Then you drive home, it's going to get charged up in half an hour or so. It might get back to 80-90% if you've got an awesome Optima. That's great. Then all night it's going to get drained again, and then you drive back to work again in the morning, half an hour and whatever. It's not enough charge, so you can't do that. You need to plug it in. If you're going to do that, you need to really you don't need to, okay? If you want to look after your battery so that it's at its best for you when you're on trips, and it can last if you want to park the car on Wednesday and then not drive it again until Friday. You know, you might even go the 75 amp hour. It depends what size fridge, whatever. But for me, with a 40 litre fridge, which I think is more than adequate, because it doesn't matter, I've said it before, if you're used to a 4 or 5 or 6 or 700 litre fridge at home, you're severely compromised whether it's a 40, 50 or 60. So 40 to 50 is value for money in fridge sizing, efficiency to run it off a battery, and just use the standard regulator that comes with it. The Samson panels from Malandy, probably the go. If you do speak to Mal, say Anthony said g'day, and you look after him and you send me for a set of awesome quality solar panels. That's just for the people that waited to the end. Please give us a like button if that information helped you in your decisions. In this vehicle we do run a voltage booster diode that's been in there for the life of this setup with everything that's here. The only thing we've changed is the batteries to refresh them at 5.5 years. More of a test to see, you know, and I've got to be honest, the old batteries were almost as good as new. There was no need to replace them, but guess what? We've got fresh ones now. That's how we roll. We look at reasons, you know, what can we replace now as prevention? What's next? What's next? And the batteries got done, the alternator's been done. There'll be other things next, but that's in other videos, probably more on 4x4 diesel. Thanks for watching, guys. Thumbs up, subscribe, bell on. There it is, right? 80 watts. 80 watts is heaps. 5-6 amps. When the sun's full on and up, I'd expect we're going to see 8 to 10 amps, but that will be in another video, another day, and we'll have the regulator on the other, the meter on the other side of the regulator, and you can see for yourself. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. See ya.